Vegas does not have the Rangers in the top 12 of teams to trade for Juan Soto. Not in the top 12. The leader, the favorite, is the Mets, then the Yankees, San Fran, Dodgers, Toronto, St. Louis, who Bassick mentioned yesterday in our commercial break. But starting to hear some whispers that Babe Ruth should be traded. How is the Angels situation with Shohei Ohtani that much different from the Nationals blowing it up and trading Juan Soto? Does it not make just as much sense with the Phenom in L.A. versus the Nats right now?
It does make sense. They're going to have to pay him, and they're going to have to pay him a god. He ain't playing for free.
Yeah, the compensation, the fun part of this discussion is going to be both compensations. If you traded for him and what his salary would be. So look, he's under team control for one more season. Okay? Let me say it again. He's under team control for one more season before he's eligible to become a free agent. So they can bet one more year that next year is finally it. We're finally not going to be failures and disappointments. All right? You do have Mike Trout, right? You can spin it that, hey, we can still compete. We can turn it around. We can be a player. But the history of the Angels says they're a non-contender. So what do you do? One former Major League Baseball GM said it would be smart for them to consider. I think you have to. Quote, if I'm them, I got to get a phone call from another team that I've scouted inside and out and know that team about as well as I'm going to know a team that I don't work for. And they've got to make an offer to me on Ohtani that I cannot hang the phone up. You're going to give me 2 for 1. $2 for $1. That's what a former National League general manager said the Angels should consider with Shohei, as they look like they're going to miss the playoffs for the 8th straight year and finish below 500 for the 7th straight year.
I don't want them to trade Shohei. I want them to trade Trout. Get him the hell out of there. Now, trade both of them, really.
Yeah, I'm not saying this just because of AOS, but I feel like those two are wasted over there.
They are.
Get them out.
Get them out. Get them somewhere where they can actually
truly rot.
Totally agree. Let them get somewhere where they can actually try and win a title.
And I see them more.
Yeah.
And I get to watch them. 6 or 7 p.m. instead of 9:30.
The biggest failure, and this isn't baseball's fault, but the Stars have to play in October. And far too often, Stars aren't around in October sometimes. I mean, Mike Trout's never in October. How often is Bryce Harper in the postseason? Right? When's Bryce Harper in the postseason? He's one of the biggest stars of the game. You've got to have that. You've got to have your best, your biggest stars, your most memorable and players with the most notoriety. They've got to be playing in October.
Would it be insane for the Angels? Because if you're going to trade one, you might as well trade both.
They should trade them both.
They should trade them both.
They absolutely should. They would lower their payroll, and they would get, you want to talk about having, if they want a dynasty, you got to trade Trout and Ohtani. You would get.
Say that sentence again because that doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right, but if you want a dynasty, you got to trade Trout and Ohtani. You have to get, you would get a complete stockpile of picks.
Yeah.
A complete stockpile. That's why the Nats are going to do it. They have Juan Soto right now, and they're one of the worst teams in the league.
And the Angels would have 2 of these guys to trade.
Yeah.
And the big difference
and
here.
And then trade Rendon, too.
And why the Angels, Rendon. And why the Angels should do it even more than the Nats, the age. Ohtani's 28, Trout's 30. Now, would Artie Moreno, L.A. owner, who spent big to be relevant and win, he going to go through a total complete rebuild and blow it up with 2 of the biggest stars, arguably the 2 biggest stars in the entire sport? Going to get rid of them? But it seems like it seems more obvious to do this than even the Nationals trading Soto, because Soto's 24. Like, these guys are 28 and 30.
Yeah,
Trout's breaking down.
He's breaking down. He's over 30.
He's on the IL again.
Yeah, you have to do this. If you're the Angels, you've got to make these moves.
Now, let's have fun. The trade package for Shohei Ohtani compared to Juan Soto. Let's start there. The trade package, does it, Is it comparable or completely, I don't want to say completely dwarfs it, but easily tops the Soto comp? You got to factor in Soto 24, contract coming, Ohtani 28, pitches, contract
coming.
Woo!
It's tough because, like, Shohei's not as good as Juan Soto as a hitter. But he pitches. Like Shohei Ohtani theoretically should win the MVP every year. He does both jobs. He does them well. He does them very well. He's not great. He's not a great pitcher. He's not the best pitcher in the game, but he's very, very good. Very, very good. I think it dwarfs it. Having said that, Juan Soto is tracking to be a Hall of Famer, like a lock. Like we're talking a 98%er. I don't know that Ohtani is, although he'll probably get in based on the impact of the game that he had.
Right.
And the fact that he was able to do both things. But if you just look at his pitching or just his hitting, just his pitching and just his hitting are not Hall of Fame numbers. But the fact that he does them both makes him a Hall of Famer.
Well, his numbers last year.
Yeah, last year when he was MVP, he was tremendous.
Yeah,
but that was a one-off.
Yeah, he's a career 263 hitter. Last year he hit 46 homers. He's going to hit 40 this year, or come up just shy of 40. So would you rather for the next 7 years have Ohtani or Soto?
Oh, I'd rather have Ohtani for the next 7 years. Assuming that, last year wasn't a fluke. And then
you got to take that into account, whether you think it was.
Yeah,
it's all your judgment.
It's all judgment. I'd probably rather have Ohtani just because he could do so much more.
I agree. And
the trade do everything.
And the trade package would definitely top Soto. And now the next fun question. What do you pay him? The salary of Shohei Ohtani's next deal. Average per year. How do you formulate that? How do you calculate that? Do you have to take the average of the top? Is it like a franchise tag? You take the average of the top 10 pitchers and add that to the average of the top 10 hitters? I mean, think about it. What is Max Scherzer getting a year?
Like $40 million almost.
For how many games does he play?
He pitches 35 games a year. Maybe.
And you said how much? 40, right? I think
he's getting $40 million. So
what's that make Ohtani worth?
80 million? 70 million? Seriously.
I'm serious. I mean, it's not 70, it's not 80.
Right.
But is 55 a year crazy?
I don't think
60?
So. No, I don't think it's crazy. I don't know what they're going to wind up doing. Like Mookie Betts, right? Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani have about the same OPS plus. It's 137. Okay? Mookie Betts signed a 12-365 deal. So he is getting 38 million a year, something like that. 35 million a year. That's what he's getting. And that's about what Shohei is as an offensive player. Strictly just offense. He's about Mookie Betts, career-wise. And then you factor in what he is as a pitcher. Now, what is he as a pitcher? Is he a Cy Young candidate every year? No, so he's not Max Scherzer. But he's on the list of the next,
Yeah. He's not too far away.
He ain't too far away.
Scherzer makes 43. Garrett Cole makes 36.
I would say that he's probably. I think Cole's better.
Yeah.
So let's just say 30.
Bauer. Bauer was making 34.
Let's say he's a $33 million a year pitcher, and he's a $35 million a year hitter. And there you go. There's just $70 million.
68 million.
There you go. That's what it is.
Don't tell me Shohei's. I hope. Actually, I do hope. Tell me his agent is. Please tell me it's Boris.
Oh.
Please, God, tell me that it's Scott Boris. I don't think it is because we would have heard.
It's CAA.
Okay.
Is Boris with CAA? No, Boris has his own.
CAA was Dax. It's not the same. They have different sports under the same umbrella. But just keep that in mind. People are whispering that the Angels should really think. It's more obvious for the Angels than the Nats, right? The Nats can turn it around before Juan Soto turns 29. He's got 5 years before he turns 29. Here are the Angels. You can continue to spend, but you have the core pieces, right, to justify it. You got Rendon, you got Trout, and you got Ohtani.
I mean, you want to talk about having players. They have them. They can't win. They don't have enough depth. They don't have enough depth. Bassick was talking about this on Monday. The Rangers of the 90s had, a couple of Hall of Fame caliber players in Pudge and Juan Gonzalez, and they filled in the gaps with Rusty Greer. Rusty was a really good player. He'll make an all-star game, an all-star team on you every now and then. He wasn't a superstar, but he was a really good, solid baseball player.
But shouldn't that make you then take back wanting to trade for Soto for the Rangers? You're doing nothing but filling in the gaps.
You got to fill in the gaps, but I have a chance to get a Hall of Fame baseball player. I'm going to take that chance. I'll figure out the rest later.